All right, got a few nuggets here. Got a 1 ounce gold coin, 999 pure. Got this 1.3 troy ounce gold and hematite specimen. Got this one, 16.7. We'll say 16 and a half. 12 and a half. 9 and a half. 8 and a half. 7 and a half. 3 and a half, roughly. 2.7. We can say 3/4. And this, which was found with the 7000, is 0.3. 0.32. That was found with the 12-inch Nugget Finder. So let's go test these out with the new, not new, like new, Z Search coil from Nugget Finder, and we will test it against the 12-inch Nugget Finder on the GPZ or Z 7000. See how that goes. Hey, it's Nico from Learn the Wild and Motherlode Prospecting. I have a Minelab GPZ7000 with the 12-inch Nugget Finder coil. And I've got the 17x13 Nugget Finder coil and some test targets. I don't have a hole to bury anything in right now, so we're just going to do some air tests. Which, I know. This is mainly for me, but I figured I'd film it. So I'm hoping the recording goes okay for the audio because I have a recording device on the detector. Got one on me, one on the camera. And yeah. So let's go ahead and get started. And then I have this kind of for like a reference gauge. The ground's pretty noisy. I've got it at level 16, but I think I'm going to actually drop it down. We'll go down to 13. And the reason 13 is because that's where I found, that's the setting I had when I found the smallest piece we're going to test. The ground is extremely noisy. There's trash. So I'm trying to find a quieter, somewhat quiet spot. Right there is pretty good. So we'll go ahead and get started and use the 1.3 ounce nugget. We'll get this metal pan out of the way too. 1.3 ounce nugget with hematite. So that's about as deep as it's picking it up. Remember, level 13 sensitivity. I run this thing over 20, or at 20 at least, at times, but there's a lot of noise here. So what do we got? It's about 1.5 feet. Now I'll throw that pure gold coin in. This should be picked up quite a bit higher. So about 2 feet. This is not a scientific test. I think I'm going to skip a lot of these pieces, and we'll just go down. We'll throw in the 7.5 grammer. Because I don't want to be here all evening. Again, we have about 18 inches, 1.5 feet or so. All right. Next up is this crusty piece of gold in quartz. So we'll test that out. It's pretty strong at about 1 foot. This is actually a kind of difficult piece to detect. And let's just go down to the 0.3 grammer that I detected with this. I actually found this piece with that coil. And we got about 1 foot on that one, which is pretty impressive. That's a little piece. So I'm going to go ahead and swap these coils. All right. Nice. It's picking up something that the other coil was not. Like there was a target there, but it was more of like an annoyance. That's loud. It actually might be gold. There's a creek right there with gold in it. All right, got a very tight window right there. So let's find out where the hot spot is on this coil. So it sounds like there's a hot spot right here and right here. Just by going front to back. Actually, nope. Correction. Hot spot. Right there. There's our quiet spot. So let's put down the big nug. It already hears it. And I think I'm getting interference with these. Just picking them up. That's a little soft. I would dig that. So we had about 1.5 feet with the 11-inch coil, or 12-inch. About 2 feet with that same nugget with the bigger coil. So let's try it with the 1-ounce coin. That threshold's a bit off, but I'm going to keep it how it is for consistency. And then we had about 2 feet last time on that coin. Looks like about the same, maybe a couple inches more depth. And we'll just skip to 7.5. At least for now. We'll see what it does on the small 0.32 grammer. So I would dig it up there, which is about 10 inches, maybe. Yeah, about 10 inches. And I think that Nugget Finder picked it up about or the 12-inch picked it up at 1 foot. And if I remember correctly, the 7.5 also got picked up at 18 inches. So let's just try it. Real sharp right there. I think that's it. So about the same as the smaller coil. So of course air tests are never going to be accurate because of varying soil conditions and all that. So I'm excited. Definitely got more depth on that big guy. more depth on that big coin, which I don't expect to be finding 1 ounce maples out there in the field, but who knows. About a 2-inch depth loss on this little 0.3 gram flake. And oh, I didn't test that little cruster. Let's get that tested. The 3.5 gram piece with quartz. The one that can be pretty difficult to detect at depth. Make sure it's not sitting on edge. Another thing, Minelab. In your next iteration, make it boot up fast, please. That's sharp. I suppose I would potentially dig it deeper than this, but for this, we got about a foot, which I think is the same as the 12-inch. My cutoff was kind of at that point where I might dig it. So there you have it, 12-inch, 17-inch. Seems like there's about maybe 15-20% depth increase on some pieces, and then a little bit less on the smaller ones. But the fact that that thing will pick up that little flake at about almost a foot, yeah, that'll do. So there is the 17 and the 12. This has found gold for me well over 2 feet deep. And I know of guys that have dug gold up to 3 feet deep, and they weren't like giant pieces either. Like 3/4 ounces, which is a big piece, but not as big as that same person digs often.